What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. These are my Draftkings MMA picks for UFC Mexico City. We have Steve Erceg going against Brandon Moreno, and I'm really looking forward to this card. I think it's a very violent card. We're going to be in high elevation, which we're going to talk about a lot more. I expect there to be a lot of finishes, a lot more finishes than London last week. So yeah, a lot of entertaining fights, and I think this is a very interesting card from a Draftkings perspective. So can't wait to break it all down. Before we do so, if you guys could, like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave me a comment, and check out dfsbythenumbers.com. That's where you'll find all my other content, DFS or betting. With the DFS package, you get my fighter stats, targets, projections, ownership projections, rankings, DFS article, prize picks, plays, and much, much more. Check it all out at dfsbythenumbers.com. And also check out prize picks. Use code DFSBTN, and you'll get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. Haven't got the prize picks plays in yet, but they should be in there sometime tonight or tomorrow. So be on the lookout for that. But yeah, check it out. Prize pick, get yourself some free money, $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. All right, let's keep going to the fight doesn't go to decision lines. Not a ton of fights really heavily favored to end inside the distance, but I think a lot of fights do end inside the distance, and I think these three fights do end inside the distance and are very important from a DraftKings perspective, especially this first one. It is the co-main event. Manuel Torres going against Drew Dober, and it's a Manuel Torres fight, which means somebody's probably getting served, and probably getting served in the very first round. This guy has seen a second round only once in his career, and he's had 18 fights. So he's kill or be killed to the highest degree. No striking defense, chin up in the air, very wild, very reckless, but very dangerous. I think the winner of this fight is going to get a first round finish. I personally am on the Drew Dober side. I do like his durability a little bit more, even at this stage of his career. I like the striking a little bit more, the pressure a little bit more, the cardio, especially if this fight gets extended, a lot more. So I like the Dober side, but yeah, I mean, this fight, somebody's going to get very, very, very badly hurt. So at these prices, Manuel Torres 8,200, Drew Dober 8,000. I'd be shocked if the winner of this fight did not end up on the optimal lineup. I think somebody's going down in the very first 5 to 7.5 minutes in this one. Next, we have another fight that I think is a very interesting one to target. We got Ateba Goudier going against Jose Medina. Goudier is 9,600. Medina is 6,600. So we have the highest priced fighter on the slate in Ateba Goudier. And yeah, this fight can go one of two ways in my eyes. The first way this fight can go is Gaudier's the first person to knock out the very hittable punching bag in Jose Medina. I think he has probably 5 to 7.5 minutes to do it, in high elevation especially. And if he does not do it, if he does not finish Medina in the first 5 to 7.5 minutes, Medina is very, very, very live to win the fight, to be honest. So yeah, I think this fight's at one that's important to target. Goudier, this guy, I think if he's winning, his win condition's probably a first round knockout. But Jose Medina, as a pump play, as a dart throw this week, if he can survive 7.5 minutes, this guy could potentially break the slate. So it's a fight that I like quite a bit. I personally do think that Goudier is the first one to touch the chin of Medina, but I will be sprinkling some Medina down low this week just because he's going to be very low owned, and he's so cheap, 6,600. So love this fight. And again, I think somebody's getting served. Next, we have Jamal Emmers going against Gabriel Miranda. We have another kill or be killed fighter here in Gabriel Miranda. This guy has 17 wins, 17 finishes, 16 of which come by submission. And yeah, basically a grappler, and that's it. His striking defense is very poor, sitting at 37%. His chin is very poor. We've seen him knocked down and knocked out multiple times in the UFC. Jamal Emmers nowadays flashing some power. He hurt Nate Lambert early on in the first round. Knocked out Dennis Bazuki in the first round. So yeah, I think somebody's getting served here as well. Jamal Emmers 9,900. I actually like quite a bit. I think this is a fight that, if he loses this fight, he should be absolutely ashamed of himself, but it's also Jamal Emmers, and he's shown very questionable fight IQ. So for that reason, Gabriel Miranda at 7,100, his win condition's kind of a first-round submission. So yeah, I think the winner of this fight scores very well. I think it's a finish, and I think it could come early as well. So another great fight to target. I think all three of these fights end inside the distance, and I think all three winners have a good chance to find their way onto the optimal lineup. Let's go to the core plays, though. It is Raul Rosas Jr., probably one of my favorite, if not my favorite play of the week, all things considered, 9,200. I think this is a good matchup for him. I think there's a couple spots on this card where it's a clear setup spot, and this is one of them for me. I don't get this for Vince Morales. I don't get the fact that he's coming in here on short notice. This guy just fought like a month ago, and he took damage in that fight. His face was busted up. His nose looked all busted up, and I just don't get it. And he's taking this fight in elevation against Raul Rosas Jr. in Mexico City. It just doesn't make a ton of sense. I think it's a clear setup spot for Raul Rosas Jr. I think Raul Rosas Jr. should be able to get takedowns. And the thing with Vince Morales is this guy, Vince, is submission over position. He's going to attack submissions off of his back, and he's going to give up position. And I think he's going to give up dominant positions to Raul Rosas Jr. at some point in this fight. I think Raul Rosas Jr. is going to take his back, and I think he's going to choke him out in the first or second round. So I like Raul Rosas Jr. quite a bit. There are concerns with Raul Rosas Jr. in terms of the cardio, the non-existent improving, but still non-existent striking. But I really do like this matchup for him, and I think he has a very high ceiling this week. Next, we got Brandon Moreno, 8,600. I think he's the ace side in the main event for me. The more expensive guy in the main event, but the ace side in the main event for me personally. Yeah, initially I'm like, this fight's going to be close, and maybe it is close, but I just started thinking about it more, and it's like Brandon Moreno, I think, is much more defensively sound when it comes to the striking. I think he has the offensive wrestling upside, the grappling upside, the durability, a big durability edge, the 5-round experience edge, just experience in general. He's fought the much better competition, even though Urzyg's fought some solid guys. He's in his Mexico City. I know Brandon Moreno's 0-3 in Mexico, but that just means that he's due. So yeah, I think Moreno in a win. I think he scores very well. Lots of strikes adding up. I think it's going to be a high-paced fight. I think the longer this fight goes, the more it's going to favor Moreno. And it wouldn't even shock me if he was able to mix in some takedowns or two here. Next we got Ronaldo Rodriguez, 8,500. Yeah, I don't mind some Rodriguez here. I don't mind this fight in general. I think the winner's going to score very well here. I think another fight that's sneaky to end inside the distance. The fight doesn't go, it's like plus 120. Plus 125. But yeah, Rodriguez here I think has the grappling upside. This guy's super tough, super durable. Kevin Borjas, he's been finished twice, once by submission, once by knockout. And I think the elevation heavily favors Rodriguez. I question the cardio of Borjas. I also question the grappling of Borjas. And Rodriguez has good grappling. So if Rodriguez can get this fight down to the ground, I could see him getting a finish, whether it's a TKO, whether it's a submission as well. So I don't mind some Rodriguez here at 8,500. But another fight I think is a very good one to target this week as a whole. Next, we got Jamal Emmers, 9,100. Again, it's tough to trust this guy, but geez, he shouldn't be losing to a guy like Gabriel Miranda. Gabriel Miranda is kind of a one-trick pony. Just don't go to the ground. That's simple. And if he doesn't go to the ground, he's going to knock out Gabriel Miranda. So I'm going to have a lot of Emmers. I will be sprinkling some Miranda because of the fight IQ issues of Jamal Emmers, but this should be Emmers, and this should be Emmers easily. Let's see if he F's it up. Moving on to the GPP plays here. We talked about Gaudier a little bit, 9,600. First round finish upside. This guy hits like an absolute truck. This guy can probably knock out an entire house. And which is interesting because this guy Medina is a house. So yeah, I think he's live though. I think he's live to knock out Medina, and if he does, he's going to score very well. Joe Pyfer, 9,300. Don't like Pyfer as much as some of the other plays up top. I like Raul Rosas Jr. a little bit more. Jamal Emmers a little bit more, even Gaudier a little bit more, but Pyfer would probably be my fourth option, and Pyfer does have some upside. The only thing is, he is going against Kelvin Gastelum, who has been very durable throughout his career, but I do think Pyfer can potentially be the first one to knock out Gastelum, or potentially take him down and find the submission. So I don't mind Pyfer, but he would be like my fourth option up top. Christian Rodriguez, 8,400. I don't mind some Rodriguez here. I think Rodriguez has some sneaky grappling upside. Typically guys are looking to take him down. I wouldn't be shocked if he kind of flipped the script and, try to take down Mel Costa here. I like the cardio, the conditioning of Christian Rodriguez. This guy's been in training in Mexico City the last month or so. And yeah, I think he's having the cardio advantage here, especially as the fight goes on. We've seen Mel Costa slow down. We've seen Mel Costa make mistakes on the ground. We've seen him get finished. Mel Costa's been finished 4 times. So I think a Christian Rodriguez late finish could definitely be in play here. He's 8,400, and as long as he doesn't get guillotined, I think he's very, very live to go out there and win this fight and score while doing it. And then Manuel Torres, 8,200. You're going to want a piece of this fight. It's a fight that I'm going to be all in on one way or another. The lean for me is Dober, but Torres, if he's winning, it's a first-round knockout or submission. So you got to play Torres, even though I do like the Dober side. And speaking of the Dober side, the best dog on the card from a DraftKings perspective, because on the money line, he's actually the favorite. Drew Dober has flipped to a favorite on the money line, but he's still obviously priced a underdog on DraftKings. And yeah, I think Dober goes out there and finds the chin of Torres. I mean, Torres, we talk about Dober's potential declining durability. I mean, Torres got rocked by Chris Duncan's very first punch. I mean, the first punch that Chris Duncan threw and landed. This guy was rocked. Saw him get rocked a little bit by Moda. Obviously got dropped by Bahamondes and then knocked out in that fight as well. So yeah, I think Dober has still, at 36 years old, still has the better durability. I like the pressure, the power, and I think Dober knocks out Torres in the first or second round. But yeah, like I said, somebody's getting served here. Steve Erceg, 7,600. Yeah, I don't mind Erceg. Also, from a cash game perspective, I don't mind stacking this fight in cash. I haven't done a ton of stacking in cash games this year. I've done it a couple times when it's made sense. This is a week where I think it would make sense. Flyweight fight, probably goes the distance, probably high-paced. So Erceg, from a cash game perspective, in that stack makes a lot of sense. From a tournament perspective, yeah, I don't mind it. Like, if he wins this fight, I don't see much grappling upside. Don't see like a massive ceiling, but over the course of 25 minutes can probably land a decent amount of strikes. So yeah, I don't mind some Erceg here at all, but I do like Moreno quite a bit, to be honest. The more I've kind of thought about this fight throughout the week. Austin Hubbard, 7,500. Another underdog I like quite a bit this week. I'm not picking him to win the fight per se, but I do think it's going to be a very, very close fight. I think it's going to come down to maybe the volume, the wrestling of Austin Hubbard versus the bigger, more powerful shots of Medeiros. Which are the crooked, corrupt judges going to favor? Austin Hubbard's a guy that has trained in high elevation in the past. He did move camps to Valley Flow striking, but yeah, Austin Hubbard I do think is going to make this a lot more close, a lot more competitive than the salary does indicate. I think this should be more like an 8,200, 8,000 matchup, maybe 8,300, 7,900 matchup. So to get Austin Hubbard at 7,500, I think he's very, very live to win this fight and score well doing so. Maybe with the takedowns, some control time, and some volume. Don't see him getting a finish. I think that's off the table. But yeah, I think Austin Hubbard's a very live dog nonetheless. And then Kevin Borjas, 7,700. Yeah, he's a live dog. I mean, this guy has very good striking. He has a lot of power. I actually really like the striking of Borjas, and he's going against Ronaldo Rodriguez, who, yes, he's very tough, but he's very, very hittable. We saw him borderline get knocked out against Ode Osborne. The fight could have potentially got stopped, and it wouldn't shock me if Borjas, touched the chin of Ronaldo Rodriguez here. So, like I said, I think this is a very sneaky fight to target, that Rodriguez-Borjas fight, and Borjas by knockout just wouldn't shock me here. And yeah, another live dog that I think is on the table to win. Moving on to the pump plays, we have Jose Medina, 6,600. We talked about this fight a little bit. I guess it all comes down to the durability. That legendary durability of Medina. Does it hold up against a guy that hits very, very hard? We'll see if it does. If he lasts 7.5 minutes, he's very live to win the fight, and he's 6,600. So I think a couple sprinkles on some Medina makes some sense to me. 6,600, you can't go wrong with a couple sprinkles there. And then Gabriel Miranda, 7,100, you can't go wrong. I'll never ignore a guy with a 100% finish rate like he has. And then he's going against Jamal Emmers, who's just shown a lot of bad fight IQ, a lot of poor choices inside the cage. So it wouldn't really shock me if Jamal Emmers went to the ground with Gabriel Miranda, and Miranda did get a first round submission like he typically does. So yeah, I think both these guys, although I'm picking them to lose, and I'm picking them to lose in very brutal fashion, if they win, their win conditions are very high score and they're very cheap. So definitely pump plays to potentially keep your eye on this week. And then fade for me is going to be none other than Lupi Godinez. I just think there's much better options on a slate where I think we're going to get a ton of high scores, a ton of finishes. I don't think Lupi's finishing anybody not named Elise Reed. I don't think she's wrestling. Maybe she wrestles a little bit here, but we can't even count on her to do that. I don't think she's like some high-volume machine. So yeah, I see Lupi probably winning a decision, probably competitive. If anything, I'm taking the shot on Palashri at 7,400. But yeah, Lupi's going to be a fade for me. I think there's much better options. And there you guys have it. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys could, on your way out, like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave me a comment, let me know what you guys are liking from a DraftKings perspective. If you guys do want to support me more, or if you want more content, check out dfsbythenumbers.com. That's where you'll find all my other content for the week, betting, DFS, prize picks, you name it, dfsbythenumbers.com. Best of luck, everybody, for UFC Mexico City. Should be a fun one, and we'll talk to you soon. See you later.